Hello, everyone. Have you ever wondered how two competing tech giants, Apple and Samsung, once had a business deal between them? Apple's iPad Retina display is actually manufactured by Samsung. Yes, you've heard that right. Apple, a brand known for its innovative manufacturing and upmarket brand, doesn't manufacture its own screens. That's the job of Samsung, one of the company's largest competitors. To thicken the plot further, Samsung doesn't even produce the same Retina displays it makes for Apple on its own tablets. Let's dive into why this is happening and what we can learn from it.
Oh ya, untuk kalian yang lebih nyaman dengan bahasa Indonesia, bisa nyalakan subtitle terjemahannya ya.
Why this is happening. Bizarre as this case sounds at first, when it comes to companies as big as Apple and Samsung, operations happen on such a large scale that offshoots of the company practically function as separate entities. Samsung contains more than 30 independent businesses that cover different aspects of its operations. One of these is Samsung Mobile Display, which is producing screens for Apple, while other businesses under the Samsung branch fight lawsuits against Apple or work on competing projects. It's a strange arrangement, to say the least. When the arrangement began, Samsung favored AMOLED technology, an alternative to LCD screens that it has worked on developing for years and used in millions of mobile phones. Meanwhile, Apple preferred high-end LCD screens, which is exactly what Samsung was producing for them now. In other words, although Samsung was helping its competitor, the two companies are actually heading in very different directions. There's no vested interest because Samsung doesn't want to use the screens it was producing for its competitor. Further developments. Eventually, Apple decided to start using OLED screens too, which were incorporated into the iPhone X. In this case, Samsung was supplying its competitor with its own specially developed technology. Did the move pay off? Yes and no. The iPhones kitted out with the OLED screens were a flop on the market thanks to their high cost and what consumers perceived as underwhelming features. As a result, Apple cut its orders with Samsung. But on the other hand, Samsung demanded compensation and won $681 million. Not a bad deal, although we believe this cost would have only been a drop in the ocean for a company as valuable as Samsung. It seems that both companies were barking up the wrong tree throughout this process, with Apple struggling to capture the imagination of its market and Samsung potentially investing everything into the wrong technology. But it certainly serves as a useful case study for anyone watching. You might be wondering what exactly you can learn from the antics of these two tech giants. Essentially, it's often possible to work with your competitors, even in the most extreme of examples. Your business probably isn't on the same scale as Samsung, but that doesn't mean that you can't also take advantage of a collaboration with your competitors. Other side of competitive collaboration. It's all too easy to think of your competitors as the enemy, and sometimes they are. Yet other times, a collaboration between two competing firms makes perfect sense and can be beneficial for both parties. This is what we call competitive collaboration. But before you go emailing all your competitors and begging them to collaborate with you, mastering the most efficient business practice and knowing how to go about it in the right way is a must. So, here it is, the killer tips to run a collaboration. The do's of competitive collaboration. Choosing the wrong collaboration partner can be fatal, so make the decision wisely. Here are some aspects you might want to consider. Does the brand have any current partnerships that are similar to your business? Has it been in partnerships before? What do you have to offer them? Are there any weaknesses you can help to solve? In case you hadn't noticed, these questions all focus on how you can help your competitor and not how they can help you. Get used to thinking in this way. You should also generally have a similar target market, a complementary brand identity, and marketing goals that more or less match up. If you're trying to sell exactly the same things to exactly the same people, you're likely to reach nobody new. But equally, a collaboration could alienate your customers if you're worlds apart. A great example of a collaboration that worked well is Spotify and Uber. Do you think that a collaboration between Spotify and Apple Music or Spotify and Macy's would have worked quite so well? Finally, remember to bear in mind that your collaboration could end at any point. Always expect the worst and have a plan in place. The don'ts of competitive collaboration. It's important to remember that just because you're collaborating with your competitors, it doesn't mean you can and should tell each other everything, especially not sensitive information. Be mindful of what you're sharing and respect the privacy of the other company. Plenty of trade information is classified as confidential and restricted. Pricing strategy and customer information are obvious no-nos. There can be a thin line between simply using what you know to your advantage and making a breach of confidence, but legal writers Coppinger and Scone James define the difference as follows. He who receives information in confidence shall not take unfair advantage of it. He must not make use of it to the prejudice of him who gave it without obtaining his consent. It's helpful to discuss boundaries with a partner before you get started. Also, no matter how well the collaboration's going, it's best to avoid interlinking your brand too closely with your competitor's brand. Remember, collaborating doesn't mean that you're merging with the other company. Becoming too dependent on another company can be disastrous. Time to start collaborating. Now you know the basics. It's time to start putting some serious thought into who you'd like to collaborate with and how to approach them. If you're wondering exactly how to proceed or whether this is the right avenue for you, how about jumping to our next video? Hey, thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, we'll take it that you enjoyed the show. Don't you think we deserve a subscribe from you? Share this video with everyone you know so they can like the same thing you do. And we'll see you in the next video.